Welcome back to the Polishing Podcast. Today is a special episode because our co-host has something that he wants to talk about specifically and to announce. I worded that weird, but it was full of energy, so we're keeping it. I'm your host, Nico, otherwise known as Nico All Powerful. That's your co-host. Introduce yourself, because it feels weird every time I do it.
I'm Spookalated Apollo. Pixelated Apollo, and I'm running for president 2020.
Woo. You're not old enough yet.
No, I'm not. But
and
soon.
I wouldn't vote for you. No.
Wow, you don't even know my look. Free candy for everyone.
Look,
like, what are you, 12?
I don't hear Taco Tuesday in any of this, so I'm not.
Oh
voting
yeah,
for
Taco
you.
Tuesday for everyone named Nico.
There's only a couple of us throughout
I'm not
the world.
pandering to you. Yeah.
But no, this is a special episode of the podcast
So, yeah.
because
I've been kind of hinting towards a project I've been working on. If you've been listening to the podcast, I've been talking about for a while, hinting at it. Originally, we were supposed to release this earlier, but we had to delay it. But basically, I am working on a card game. It's pretty much done.
Woo!
Yeah, and the Kickstarter, if all things go well, because obviously this is before the release of the Kickstarter, but the Kickstarter is out right now, so it's something you can check out. But yeah, so I think today we were just gonna talk about the gameplay, the the backstory, why we did it, just really everything about the game, because it's hard to get all the information about the game on the Kickstarter.
Man, who's got time to type them?
Yeah. Like, you can't explain every single mechanic, but in a more podcast environment, we could definitely go through a lot more. So
I can break out my notebook with all my questions in it.
I'm excited to talk about it too, because I've been keeping it, kind of secret.
Yeah, I mean, I think you may have said that it was a card game at one point, but that doesn't reveal anything about how it works, what it's about, what exactly it entails. Is it a collectible card game like Magic the Gathering? Is it or a Pokemon, or is it more along the lines of a super fight, Cards Against Humanity style thing where you just get the cards and you play with friends and stuff? Those kinds of things. Well, and that's exactly a good place to start. Is it more along the lines of like a Pokemon card game or Magic the Gathering or something akin to Cards Against Humanity, Super Fight, like a standalone game that may have expansions later? That's, to be announced whether or not that's ever a thing. But,
so fun stories. We actually... Well, first, okay, let me just say what the game is.
Okay, yeah.
The game is called Dead Trek, and it's a zombie survival journey, like adventure game, where it's co-op. So it's more for like a party environment. It's not so much a collectible. And what happens is you and your friends, your fellow survivors, are going to have to go through your dead trek, your dead journey, to get to a rumored safe haven. And the lore of the story is that you've got this pretty good house you're in, but you're running out of food. The zombies are growing in numbers, and it's either fight, die trying, do something. But then you hear on the radio that there's a rumored safe haven that's thriving. You just got to make it there. That's your ticket in the safe haven.
Okay.
And that's where the journey begins. And you and your friends have to go through as road cards, is what we're calling them.
Okay.
And in the road, there's good things, there's bad things, there's neutral things that could be bad or could be good that you're going to...
I can just imagine. It's like, you come across a skateboard. If your skill is high enough, you can ride it and make it go and make your journey faster.
No.
Damn it, I only spent points in intellect.
Not quite that.
Yeah,
there's other survivors that you'll come across. In survivors, the way the survivor mechanic works is that they're either good or bad because you never know.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you roll.
The scariest part of the zombie apocalypse is the human element.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also bosses that you're going to have to encounter. Some are human bosses, some are zombie bosses.
One particular zombie boss we may have accidentally made up yesterday.
So me and my brother are working on this game, and in terms of the bosses, we I don't want to say all the bosses because I want to keep them a surprise.
Yeah, you don't want to spoil everything.
Yeah. But we show a couple on the Kickstarter, so I'll talk about those. But my brother, when we first started, he wanted to be very realistic. As in, like, he wanted, like, realistic for a zombie theme.
Yeah.
Where
there's not, like, different variations of zombies. They're all just, What you guys gonna go shamblers or runners at first, or a mix of the two for the realism part?
Well, I guess that's up to the player's imagination.
Because
it's kind of hard to show zombies running or.
Well, I mean, if you draw them kind of like haphazardly, cock-necked and slack, then you can just that one's obviously a shambler. But if you see one that's like with like movement lines behind it, it's like that one's running.
True. That's true. And with bosses, we definitely have that.
Okay.
But I think the hordes, the normal zombies, are definitely slower paced zombies.
Okay.
But there's a couple different zombies that we'll talk about. But the bosses, the funny thing is, like, I wanted to go like really out there because our art style is so awesome. I just want to give a shout out, and I feel really bad because I'm drawing a blank on his last name. Oof. But his credits will be, he's credited in the Kickstarter. Really talented graphic artist. The problem is, like, I never knew his last name because this was more of my brother's friend.
Oh. Okay.
And we had 2 people outside of me and my brother help work on the art in the graphic design.
Okay.
And they're both called David.
Oh no.
So we called them. Yeah. We called them David number 1 and David number 2. So
it's like, I'm gonna call number 1 real quick.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So he's really, really talented, and the style of the art. We were like, okay, we just need to go really out there with our bosses.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, guys. I saw the art like a month or 2 back, and it's nice. I liked it a lot. I liked his art style.
Yeah, he's super talented. I really hope, like,
it's not overly edgelordy or anything either. It's not like decrepit zombie or anything.
Yeah, no, we didn't want that either. We wanted the game to be for everyone and like no blood or guts. We just wanted it fun. And so the bosses over time became more and more ridiculous.
Well, now I gotta tell you right now, you gotta make a blood and guts expansion pack if this does well. Just saying.
Oh God, how would you even do that for a card game?
Easily, all of the cards inside that expansion would just be blood. Really violent looking.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And gory. That's it.
It's like the adult deck. No.
Well, I mean, look, there's a rated R deck for Super Fight that adds in a bunch of sexual things like a orgasm ray and stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. But yeah, me and my brother, just again a little backstory. Well, actually, let me finish this topic about bosses.
Yeah.
So it started off as like one boss. We have a road warrior, which you'll see in the Kickstarter.
Does he look like the Road Warrior?
I don't know who's the Road Warrior.
I was just thinking of Mad Max. Because, Mad Max.
Okay. No, he looks like he's just crazy. And he's got, like, for armor, he's got, like, signs, and he's got like, a tire shoulder. Like, he's just got... And then the fun part is writing backstories for these bosses.
Yeah.
But he's armed with, like, a Magnum revolver, and he's got some, like, poison explosion.
Oh.
Like, yeah, so like he's really interesting. And then of course we've got a riot police zombie.
Okay.
And he's gonna be one of the tougher bosses you'll encounter because the way the combat works is that there's 3 different combat. options. There's ammo, there's melee, and then there's like cocktail, like small explosives.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so, I mean, did you call it cocktails or throwables?
Yeah, we called it just like throwables.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I mean, when you loot and find ammo for it, it's going to be a cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because like I mean that would be pretty,
Yeah, it's like
you're very capable of doing. Yeah,
a police car, and it's like, oh, frag grenades, cool.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
state does this take place in?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, and they all work in different ways. So ammo is probably the best, because it keeps you at a distance. And to use a gun, you need ammo, obviously. But when you roll, you have to use ammo no matter what, whether you hit them or not. So you're gonna waste that resource. So you got to use it wisely. Now, melee is great because you're not losing anything when you do melee. But if you miss, damage is upon you. Like you take damage. Yeah. And that's when you need to have med pack cards.
Okay. So let me stop you real quick because you're kind of jumping.
I know. There's like so much I want to cover, and I'm all over the place. Yeah. If you couldn't tell, I'm super excited and like anxious in a good way because we put a lot of heart and soul into this. But
so I just want to. So what are all of the cards before we get into the details of each one? Like, is there? So you've stated there's bullets or ammo, not just bullets, but ammo.
Okay, so let me.
weapons.
There's 3 decks.
Okay.
So when you get the game, there's 3 decks and 1 10-sided die.
Okay.
So there's a road deck, and that's gonna be like
all of the things that can happen on the road.
Right. Right. Then you have the store deck, and what happens is when you're playing the road cards, when you're playing the road cards, you'll come across stores. And these are neutral things because you have the choice of either going in the store or just going past it. And that just depends on, because inside a store, it could be really great or it could be really awful. So that's where the fun comes in, is there's a lot of risk reward in the game. And if you're low on resources, obviously you got to go in the store. Yeah. But if you're doing well on resources and you don't want to risk losing somebody, or
I imagine in the store you could come across like a horde of zombies or something, right? Like,
yeah, you come across
or other survivors or something.
It's mostly just zombies. The bad, yeah. So when you go into a store, the way it works is, think of it as everybody going into their own room. So for example. Yeah, you go to a store, and there's different size stores. You're going to come across like a gas station, which has 3 store cards. And then you'll come across like we call it Big Buy, which is like a, Walmart type big store, which is going to be having 4 cards. And the first person to flip over the road card goes into the store first. But when you go into the store, it's like you going into a room alone. Okay. So if you encounter a zombie, you have to fight it alone. Where in the road, when you take on hordes, you're fighting
with your friends.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you guys take turns killing the horde.
Okay.
So so that's and that's another cool thing you can do, is like you can go into the store, but you can skip, like, it's kind of hard to explain without the cards laying out right in front of you. Yeah. But think of 4 cards laid out. You pulled the store card, so you're gonna go in first. You flip it over. It's awesome. We have these. So in stores, you can loot just normal resources, food. Which I need to explain food, and there's special weapons. Okay. These special weapons are kind of like beats everything kind of thing. Oh. Yeah. So that's why looting is so important to the game. But
hopefully you took a little inspiration from Dying Light with the explosive canisters that we blew each other up with.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, yeah. No, we didn't add any explosive canisters, but We wish.
I'm gonna
no.
turn on my. It's like, can I roll to blow up the canister in my friend's head? I mean, I guess.
I mean, it's co-op, but if you want to be the sole survivor,
you want to be a dick.
But yeah, you roll over, you got something awesome. The person next to you goes next, and let's say they're really low on resources. They just go, skip. I'm not going into the next room.
Oh, okay.
And nobody goes into that room.
Oh, so you could just miss out on something good. If
could be awesome.
Yeah.
But it could also be something terrible.
You go in and it's a riot zombie.
Yeah, exactly. It's or sometimes so in stores it could be one zombie, it could be two zombies. And if it's two zombies, you have to hit them twice successfully. Now the store zombies are a lot easier to kill, obviously, compared to like a horde. But still, like we've played the game 1,000 times, and even though like the stats will be low on what you need to roll, still it's like you keep rolling ones and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Like it's a lucky draw.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the fun of the store cards. Okay. And so many times we've played, and I think that's where we're most excited about the game. The fun of the game is that risk reward, being like, do I go in? Do I not go in? Yeah. Okay, you went in and there's a zombie. You've got some ammo, but you want to save it. Do you use melee? You know, do you risk dying even though you have ammo? So things like that, which make it really fun and addictive. So yeah, that's the store cards, and the last one is just supply cards.
Okay. So it's just to get out like all like, so we know there's road, store, and what was the third deck? Supply. Within those things, what like there's like horde zombies, boss survivors inside, and like what are the separate tiers of like cards within those decks, just so we know what's all.
Okay, so are you meaning the road cards?
Yeah, the road. Like, so in supply there's obviously survival, ammo, cocktails, and melee weapons, I'm assuming.
Supply is just the cocktail, health, and ammo.
Okay.
Yeah. So just 3 different types of cards. Now, food is another supply, but we don't put it in the supply deck because let me just explain how food works.
Okay.
So the way you play the game is in chapters.
You bring your own food, and if there's none at the party,
bring your own. I mean, you should. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Order some pizza.
When you use the food card, then you can eat in real life. No.
We haven't rolled for food in 2 weeks.
The food's getting cold. Like, we need to loot. But okay, so food card, the way you play the game is in chapters.
Okay.
So there's 50 cards, right? That you have to complete the journey. I don't know if I said that, but you have to get through 50 cards.
Okay.
Each chapter is 10 cards.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the chapter, you must have a food card.
Oh.
To put on top of that finished stack. So, and if nobody has a food card, everybody dies.
Oh,
so it's really, really important that, because that's the co-op, you know, that's the like, okay, we need to work together, we need to find food.
Yeah.
And so that's the food mechanic, and you can only get that through looting stores.
Oh, okay. So if you're coming across a store, you're like, oh man, we're a couple cards deep. We have to loot the store. We're just gonna die at the end of this road.
Yeah, exactly. Just think of it as like you're going on a long journey and everybody's getting hungry.
Yeah.
So even if you're doing really well on supplies and you don't have food, you've got to loot the stores. Now, there are other options in the road. So let's go back to the road cards.
Okay.
There's deer that you'll come across, which...
Zombie deer?
No, just normal deer.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, a zombie boss zombie, that would be amazing.
Maybe another just expansion pack, zombie animals later down the road. Who knows?
Yeah, just call it like the wildlife expansion.
Hey, that sounds cool.
Have zombie bears and
that'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
That would have to be a boss.
What's up?
The zombie bear would have to be a boss.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, you find deer sometimes.
The way deer works is that when you come across deer, the person who comes across it, they have a choice to try to shoot it. So if you're low on ammo and you've got plenty of food, you can just, we don't need to kill it. I need to save my ammo. But if you're low on food and you have ammo, you get one shot. You got one roll.
Yeah, because
it's kind of like if you miss, exactly. So if you kill it, you get to keep that card and you can use it as a food card.
Okay.
So there's stuff.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So with the way the food works, can you get multiple food in chapter 1? And if you and it's like, oh, your co-op buddy didn't find food, but you have 3. Can you put one on yours and one on his at the end of that chapter?
Oh, so it's a group thing.
Okay.
So like all you need is one food.
Oh, okay. You don't even need one food per person.
No.
Okay.
It's super scarce. Yeah. So it's if somebody has it, you're good.
Okay.
But here's the thing. There are things in the road that might take your food away.
Yeah.
So don't feel like, okay, since there's 5 chapters, we have 5 food. We're good to go.
Yeah. So food does carry over through chapters, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You can. So think of it as like canned food.
Okay. So you can if you got super lucky your first 2 chapters and had 10 food somehow, you could hoard it and you'd be okay.
Yes. I mean, I can promise you that won't happen because food is so scarce. But
if somehow the RNG god smiled upon you.
Yeah, somehow there's like a printing mistake and they put way more food in the game, then yes, you're good to go. And I don't want to give away any kind of strategies because since I made the game, I kind of there's a lot of different strategies you can take. That's the fun of it. But usually spreading around the resources to everyone is good. Now, are you a selfless player or a selfish player?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Is like, do you want to get to the end and survive? Well, maybe you don't want to give away all that ammo that you have.
Oh, I
never
have
know.
A question.
Yeah.
When you get into an event where you fight zombies on the road, can you skip and not attack the zombie with your friend?
No,
and set them
you
up
can't.
For failure. Okay.
You can't.
Okay.
So think of it as like the horde's right there. Like it's kind of like the zombies are right there. What are you gonna do? Just run away as the rest of the team is fighting?
I mean, you could.
You could, but
in this you can't.
I mean, you could, but I mean, like, if you did that, would you want? It's like, no, you abandon us.
It's like, all right, we're starting a new game. You're not playing.
Yeah. You left us to die.
He left us?
I mean, there are situations. There are situations where you could sacrifice yourself for the greater good.
Yeah.
Going back to so hordes. There's 3 different types of hordes. There's small, medium, and large. And the way it works is that the large horde, you need more hit. It has more hit points.
Yeah.
So the large horde, or the medium horde, has 2 hit points. The small has 1 hit point. And what that means is that, say you flip over, it's a horde, and it's whoever flips the card over plays first. Okay. You use ammo, you roll, you hit it, the horde's gone.
Okay.
But if you missed, it would go on to the next person. They would try to kill it, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a maximum amount of players that's suggested for this game?
Yeah, 6 players.
6 players. Okay. So could you play it solo if you wanted?
Yes, you could actually.
Okay. So this is 1 to 6 players.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 1 to 6 players. I mean, obviously it's more fun with friends, but if you're like, you know what? I'm on a road trip. I want, it's cool. You can bring it. It's like solitaire in a way. You can play it.
Yeah, you could just be like, if you're on a long plane ride and you're like, well, whatever, let's get out the dead trek.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the cool part about it. But yeah, that's how hordes work essentially. Okay. Boss zombies are cool because they all have different stats.
Okay.
And we tried to base the stats around just looking at them, giving them a backstory.
Okay.
And so, for example, the riot police zombie, he's just tough overall. Yeah. Like melee, ammo, he's just really tough.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when it comes to stats, what is there just HP? Is there like HP and armor? Like how does that work?
It's just HP. Now, you could some yeah. I guess you could argue that if a boss has 2 HP, you could say 1 is armor, 1's health.
Well,
but we didn't want.
I was gonna say, like, because the way I see armor in a lot of like card games is like you have to break or either the armor is like, so let's say this is a hypothetical. The riot zombie had 2 HP, 2 armor. It's like you have to roll a 3 or higher. Like you have to get 3 damage or more to even do damage to him. Is how armor is usually implemented and stuff like this.
Oh, okay.
Because
no.
The armor would negate damage down to like, you know, it's like 3 minus 2 equals 1. So you did 1 HP damage. Is how I was thinking about it. Is all.
Oh right, yeah. No, I mean we have something similar like to that. Like so, for example, the riot police zombie.
Okay.
He's got really high ammo. Like you got to roll a really high number even with ammo.
Okay.
So that's kind of represents
so
his
he has
armor.
A resistance that you have to roll past.
Right.
To do damage.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then we have other zombies that are more squishy, but so it's kind of like sometimes when you get a boss, it's not the end of the world, and that's what we wanted. Some bosses are really great with melee, you know, like they're really tough with armor, but they're really low with melee.
Yeah.
So if you have plenty of health, you're like, oh sweet, I'll just melee this guy.
Yeah.
And if I miss, well, I'll just use the health. But if you're really low on health and you come across a boss that's really high ammo but low melee, but you have tons of ammo and you don't want to risk dying, it's like, well, crap, I have to use ammo.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So can you set like, because the way I'm just wondering how it works. It's a 10-sided die, right?
Right.
If you come across, let's since we already know about the riot boss zombie, and he has high defense in both melee and ammo. Like, do you know off the top of your head how high you have to roll to hit him with a melee attack without hurting yourself or getting hurt? I guess it's not that you swing and smack yourself in the ankle. It's more that he probably hits you back, right?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So your question is what do you need to roll to beat him?
Yeah. Like, how high does your and also, because do you get weapon cards? Like, do you get could you find a fire axe in a store and that has different stats to it and stuff? Or how does the melee work?
We played around with that.
Okay.
But we felt like the challenge of this game was keeping it party environment, like keeping it casual fun.
Okay.
And we added different traits. Like when you loot, you could find a perk. Like you find like a flashlight you can attach to your gun that makes you better at shooting.
Okay.
But
so something that's like +1 to any roll you use.
Right.
It
was a little bit. Yeah, you -1 from the
what
you have to roll. But it just got a little too like, oh, what do I have over here? It just got a little too too much.
Okay. I could see that being something you could add in later.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah, just more in depth if it does well. If people are like, oh yeah, but I want this now too.
Yeah, and that's and the cool thing about the game is like we're gonna try to put in the rules manual like an easy mode, a medium, and a difficult mode. So we're gonna have extra boss zombie cards. If you want a harder journey, you add those to your deck.
Yeah.
So it's a very open game, as in you can put in stuff, take away stuff to play your own style.
Yeah. I imagine like easy mode, it's like you can only find medium hordes as the largest horde during the road or something.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is less boss zombies, and you start off with more resources.
Okay.
So that's probably the biggest. Words are hard. The biggest way of simplifying, of making it easy and harder, as in the players don't have to go through the deck and take out a bunch of cards and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just So obviously normal will be the balanced level, as in we balance the game for that. But of course, if you want it super hard, then you can add, take away, whatever you want.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you found the game too hard, I get it. There's nothing. It's not like somebody's standing over you and being like, "Are you adhering to the rules?" You can just be like, I'm gonna start with 2 more health or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But
so it's up to you and kind of how hard you want your journey.
Okay.
But yeah, going back to the boss zombie, the
Senor Riot.
Though yes, and you're right. So the stats were all the cards are done and everything like that. All the gameplay mechanics. We're still just messing around with the bouncing a little bit. So I think as of right now, the Riot Shield, I think he's got 7 and up. You got to roll 7 and up with ammo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you have to roll 6 and up with melee. So it's slightly easier with melee, but
it's still. I mean,
it's still risky.
Yeah, because
now. Oh, and then the cocktail, the throwable, is going to be, I believe, like 5 and up. So I mentioned how melee and ammo works. The cocktail, the way that works, is that it does a lot of damage, but we wanted something to make it risky. Like when you use this card, it's going to be risky, and also the cocktail type weapons are going to be less common than ammo in health.
Okay.
But if you roll a 1, if you roll a 1 with the cocktail, it's like you're lighting yourself on fire and you're gone. You're gone. You're dead.
Okay, so there's an inherent risk with cocktails.
Yes.
Okay.
Now the odds of you rolling a 1, I mean, pretty low, but it does happen.
10% chance with a 10-sided die.
Yeah, 10% chance. So use them wisely.
So, but if you roll underneath his resistance, does it just not do damage even with the cocktail?
Yeah, it just does not do damage.
Okay. It's like you threw it, but it didn't go far enough.
It was short. Yeah.
Damn
he just looks at you like, oh, like, damn it, why did we give it to Jim? He can't throw.
Yeah. All
right. So that's the way the cocktail works. But again, cocktails less common, so you kind of have to use them wisely.
Yeah.
And it would really suck if you just like, I got so much ammo, I got so much health. Use the cocktail, I'm dead.
Because I forgot I was rooting around in a gas can earlier and lit myself on fire.
Yeah. I was rolling in oil.
I was just rolling around in it like a weird pig.
Smells good. But yeah, that's what we're gonna be shooting for. Okay. Now again, the bosses will have different. Like I think I already said that, but we'll have different stats, as in different hit points. So maybe a boss will have lower but much higher hit points.
Okay.
Some bosses you have to fight alone.
Okay.
And some bosses you fight as a team.
Yeah.
So there's like stealth bosses. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's what makes it really hard. And that I like that mechanic because it makes you kind of second guess on if you want to trade out your resources to your fellow survivors, because you might come across a stealthy. Usually the human bosses are the ones that kind of are the more stealth-like.
Okay.
Not to give too much away,
yeah.
But you have to
come
fight
across
them alone.
A ninja. It's just like, what? Guys, help! I'm fighting a ninja. We don't see anything. Yeah. We don't know what you're talking about.
Why is there a ninja here? Yeah.
Why isn't there a ninja there? Come on.
Yeah. So that's the okay. The bosses are fun. Now they're not super common. It's not like you're gonna like every other turn is a boss. So.
Every other turn a ninja.
Yeah, it's like another ninja. Are you kidding me?
But
what is this?
So we know the Riot guy, he has high resistance to everything. You have to roll high. I'm just gonna come up off the top of my head. Could you come across a boss whose like name is Big Squishy or something, where he's got 10 HP, but like all of his things are low? Like you have to roll a 2 to hit him or something, like higher than a 2 to hit him.
Yes, you can. Yeah, and those. I mean, that's the fun of it. Is just like I love the boss part because we'd go to our illustrator and we'd be like, hey, we want a boss that's like this, has characteristics of this, and then looking at it and be like, okay, what is this boss good at? And just so you'll see 3 bosses on the Kickstarter. You'll see the Road Warrior, and again, these names aren't super official, but the Road Warrior, you got the Riot Police zombie, and the other one is a mutant zombie. Where it's and this is where you're bringing in Big Squishy. So it's 3 zombies that have kind of melded into one.
3 zombies in one.
So you'll see 3 faces.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. All right.
Yep. He's got like 3 heads and multiple arms, and it's just the artist did such a. I was like, good luck on this dude, and then he just knocked it out of the park. There's like, of course, there's like the main guy that controls most of the body, and then kind of near his gut, you'll see it in the Kickstarter. Here's gut. You'll see like a smaller guy's got like skinny arms.
Oh,
and it's
God.
just like, yeah, it's cool. It's great, and it's not like it's not gross.
Oh.
You know, like when you see it, yeah, it sounds gross, but so yeah, he's something who has a boss that has lower stats but more hit points, and it's cool because even in the art, he's got like one of the heads have a big axe in the head, so it's kind of like represents that, you know, like he's been in battles before.
Cool, that's nice.
Yeah, that's okay. We're stoked about that.
That's cool. I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about making survivor cards so you, instead of just starting the game as like you're a survivor, you have 6 HP, yada yada, like it's specific, like you play as specific characters?
Yeah, so no, we did think about that. I mean, we've gone through everything.
Okay.
Like we kind of just wanted people to just get in and play.
Okay.
We didn't want people to have to worry too much about what their character's good at and stuff. I think that would be really cool, and possibly that could be an expansion idea.
Yeah, like a whole like survivor character pack where it's just
and
like...
you could like randomly select one, and you're like, you could get a good one, you could get a bad one.
You can get the schizophrenic who's really good at melee, but but if you roll too low on like when you use ammo, he'll shoot himself, like, and just kill himself
or
instantly.
Another survivor, or just like
you're really a zombie, I know it.
Yeah, or just have like, you could get the former Marine who's good at everything, or you could get a wimpy guy. I don't know.
Nerd guy who looks like a stereotypical nerd from the 80s, or
musketeer
musketeer from 1890 who thinks he's part of the British Empire.
Yeah, so we thought about that, but we were like, we kind of want players to just jump in and just be themselves. Yeah. You know, just kind of role play in that way. You are yourself in this survival environment.
I get that.
Yeah. So other things in the road you'll come across is obstacles. For example, you'll come across a bridge that's been broken. We want every card to kind of have options.
Okay.
So you could either risk trying to cross the river by rolling. You have to roll a certain number. Now, if you roll too low, you lose a resource card. So,
excuse me.
Or you could take the safer way, maybe, and take a detour. Right. And the way that works is that you add 2 road cards.
Oh, so instead of the chapter being 10 long, it would be 12 long?
12.
Okay.
So I say you got to get through 50 cards, but it could be more.
Okay.
Because of, you know, obstacles and the choices you make. And sometimes a detour is good. Like, imagine if nobody has any food, the last card is a broken bridge. Oh, well, let's take the detour. Maybe we'll come across another store. Yeah. Or it could be awful and you come across a boss and a horde of zombies. You know, that's the fun of it. That's what we really wanted to drive home with this game. It's like it's the risk reward. Yeah. It's that thrill.
To be fair, though, if you have no food and the detour is 2 groups of zombies, it's like, well, we got to play for 2 more turns, but we still died anyway because we didn't have food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just think. You just restart over. I mean, that's the fun of it, is just playing it over and over, and every time you play, the journey's different. You know, it could start off, of course we played the game 1,000 times. And one time we were trying out different balancing stuff, and we were playing through, and it was so easy. Like, everything was great. We were looting stores, getting like grenades and mini guns and other special weapons that you'll discover. And we were just like, holy crap, we're set. And then about a little bit past the halfway mark, boss zombie, hordes, boss zombie. We all died. We were like, damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can get momentum, but you know, eventually,
don't get
bad
comfortable.
can happen. Right.
Never don't be like, oh, I have so much ammo, I'm just gonna use ammo, no big deal.
I do have a question with how the chapters and stuff work.
Okay, yeah.
So after you play, like, let's say you make it to end of chapter 1, you did 10 cards, there were no detours or anything. when you start the next chapter, do those previous road cards get taken away from the deck and you can't get them again, or do you shuffle them back into the road deck?
Oh no, they're done.
Okay.
They're done. Yeah. So you'll never encounter the same card. I mean, there's some cards that repeat, like hordes.
Yeah.
But like you'll never face the same boss zombie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just kind of put them away.
Okay.
And you use that to count just in case, like, oh, how many decks have we gone through? Oh, 3. Okay. We have 2 more. So
how long have we been playing? 3 hours. We've gone through 3 cards. Oh God, we're bad at decision making.
Yeah. yeah. We're indecisive. Yeah, that's the thing about the game. When we play it, we try to play at a slow pace, and it took about 20 to 30 minutes to go start from finish. Again, it's up to kind of the player of like how fast you play the game.
Yeah.
You could also, like, if you're short on time, just do 3 cards, like 3 decks.
Yeah.
And maybe put in more boss zombies or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the fun of the game. Like,
you can
there's
customize
so many...
your own road.
Yeah, you customize your own game.
How many cards are in the road deck total? Do you know?
So, yeah, it's gonna be about, again, depending on balance. We're doing our last minute balancing stuff. But it's going to be around 70 to 75.
Okay.
So there's going to be plenty of cards.
Yeah.
To get through. Now, if you somehow amazingly get through all the cards, which I don't think is possible, then you would probably have to reshuffle.
Yeah, I was also thinking, like, if you wanted to do like a very hard long trek, you could do 7 chapters or whatever.
Yeah, you would just have to reshuffle.
Yeah.
And just if someone's doing that, we didn't balance the game for 7 chapters, so if you're like, this is impossible, it's like, well,
to be fair, that's
supposed to be with 5 chapters.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be how it's played. So
if you're like, this game sucks, the 7 chapters impossible, like, dude, it's only 5 chapters.
You're not supposed to do 7. What?
Yeah.
You're supposed to have extra cards at the end. You're not supposed to go through everything.
Yeah, but no, that's a good point. You can do more if you want.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted. We didn't want the exact number of cards because we wanted it so there's enough leftover cards that maybe the journey was easier this time. Like, if you go, you complete the game, and then you look at the road cards that's left over, maybe it's all hordes and boss zombies that you got lucky in just the shuffle.
Oh, no.
So that's what because we felt like that would help with replayability of just like, you don't know what you're gonna get this journey.
I do have a question.
Yes, so I love these questions because it's
Yeah.
I don't know what I need. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that there are, like, with the broken bridge, you could take a detour and add 2 more road cards. Is there anything like a shortcut that takes off-road cards in a chapter?
Like that you could loot or find?
Well, yeah, like, it's like, oh, you come across a bridge that you didn't know existed. If you go down this way, you don't have to go down 2 other roads, like.
No, we did think about adding like maps that you could loot, and when you have a map, you kind of avoid the detour.
Okay.
But we played it, and it made it really easy, and it just didn't work well with the mechanics of the game. But what you can do, so
I could see a map working if it's like a map to the next buy in what was it? Buy what? The Walmart-ish store.
Oh, but big buy?
Yeah, and then a map to a big buy, and then the next, like, you look through the deck for a big buy map, and then you go to the store that way.
That would be the problem with that is just we don't want people looking through the deck.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and even the same thing with supplies. So when you're looting and you flip over and it's a supply, it's just gonna say supply card.
Oh. Okay.
And then you grab the top of the supply card, and what you get is what you get. So whether it be ammo or health, it's not like it's gonna be like, oh, you found health.
Oh, okay. It's literally like, okay.
Yeah. Now food, you'll find food.
Yeah. But I was just, because it makes sense that you don't want people going through the deck, because there is no, like, in like D&D you have a dungeon master who's like, this happens to you, but in this it's like you two, like, the people playing are the only ones that are controlling things, so someone looking through the deck would just know what's coming next. Yeah,
exactly. It would kind of take the thrill, because that's that's the heart of the fun for us when we were playing, because we tried all kinds of different combinations. Like maybe it'd be fun if there's crafting, like if we added crafting in the game. It just wasn't the same as just, there's something really nice about simplicity of the game and the thrill of decision making and rolling a die and hoping for the best. I mean, there's a lot of playthroughs where you're out of all resources. All you could do is melee. One mess up, you're screwed. And I think what happened is me and my brother was playing. I died at like the 4th chapter. He had nothing and just kept killing everything. He got the luckiest rolls and won with no supplies.
Oh wow.
Except for food, because you need that at the end. But yeah, that's the thrill of it. And I think that's kind of like what we want to bring to people.
Yeah. Is there a you made it to the end card and it's like celebrations and stuff, or is it just you make it?
We thought about, I mean, we might add that to like, you just put it at the bottom of the 5th chapter. So like a picture of a safe haven or something.
Okay.
Yeah, just for the immersion, I guess.
Just be like, woo, we made it.
Yeah, you made it.
Yeah.
But I promise you guys, it's very unlikely that everyone's gonna make it. So
you're gonna have people. If when anybody starts getting this, you're gonna have people tweeting at you that day, like, "We made it first try. Watch, we have an entire video."
Of course. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but
world's first, making it with full party, 6 people.
The safe haven was too full though, and killed one of the survivors anyways. No, it's probably possible, but very, very unlikely. Yeah. And another cool thing is my brother is a programmer. That's what he does for a living, and that's why we had such great connections with like graphic designers and stuff, which was just awesome. Like just really cool people that just everybody contributed to the game and just made it come to life. And it's just really awesome to have this idea in your head and then finally see it on the Kickstarter and on the cards and just be like, oh my God, it's here. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But that's the most exciting part. But yeah, what was I talking about? I got sidetracked there.
I mean, just other than that, it was the reaching the ends and stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah. We might also have like a little compass card that you like move to player. Because like when you're looting or fighting a horde, sometimes it's like, wait, whose turn was it?
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Be just like, hey, it's your turn now. Here's the compass.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
did you guys ever think of making the end like a shitty ending where it's like you get to the safe haven, no one's there, you actually lose or whatever?
We've thought about expansions like that. Like you go and it's, you know, the expansion is you didn't like the safe haven is gone and you gotta
so it like extends the game further.
That or just you can start the game there. You gotta it's like different mechanics. I mean, I don't want to say too much because
you never know.
I mean, there's another thing we thought of that we're really strongly excited for that I'm not gonna mention just because I want it to be a surprise and stuff.
Is it in the game now?
No.
Okay, so this is more of an addition later on if everything goes well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah. But yeah, that's essentially the heart of the game is being able to get together with your friends, learn the game quickly. You know, you're probably gonna have to play it through once to really understand everything, but it's not like abstract. You know, it's not like it's going to take an hour to get through the rules. Yeah. It's going to be like 10 minutes or so.
If that. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. Like you guys seem to, instead of going for like complex systems where you have like, you know, you can loot flashlights and attachments and things that make it to where your rolls are less and for certain things and all that. It's just you're a survivor. You start with, I mean, do you know how much HP the survivors start with?
It's, again, so HP all depends on your health cards.
Oh, okay. So how does the health cards work then?
Okay, so they're in the supply deck. So the way it starts is that people randomly get supply cards. and you flip them over, and you're like, you could have your strong suit could be the amount of health you have, or the amount of ammo you have, and then you kind of use that on your journey when you're fighting zombies and stuff. Of course, players can trade. Now, that's another mechanic that you can make it harder, as in you can trade all the time, or you can trade only at the end of chapters.
Okay.
You know, so, but I think for the standard rules, you can only trade when a card is not active. As in, if you flip over a horde and it's still alive, you haven't killed it, you can't trade at that point.
So you can't be like, oh, hey, you don't have ammo, here's some ammo. It's like, no, we're in the middle of fighting, you can't just throw ammo around.
Right. It's just like, you're in, you got what you got. Once you kill the horde, then you can trade.
Okay.
Same thing for looting stores. That's why it's really risky looting stores, because when you go in alone, so you can't trade.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you said earlier the supply cards just say supply. They're not like health, ammo, throwable, or anything, right?
Yeah, they just supply. Basically saying draw a card from the supply deck.
Okay. Well,
so,
wait.
Again.
So when you draw from the supply deck, are they different things, or is it just does it say supply on it? Because that's where I'm kind of confused.
Oh, the supply. Okay, so yeah, it's hard to do it without envisioning it, but the supply deck, in the supply deck, there's 3 cards. There's the cocktail, there's the health, and then there's the ammo.
Okay, so you'll
get one of those 3.
Okay, you'll like draw a supply card, and it's like whatever you get, that's what you got.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So again, like the game is based around. I mean, we just, if you envision a real, like, pretend this really happened, zombies, and you have to take a journey from one point to another, you don't know what you're going to encounter.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to really express in the game. Is like, you go into a store, you don't know what you're gonna find in there.
Yeah, it could have been looted already. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It could be empty. That's that's kind of like, you find something, oh, it's bullets, great, you know, we have bullets now.
Okay.
So that's kind of like,
so when you start, is it just like draw 3 supply cards, that's what you start with, or like how does it work when you first sit down to start a game?
Yeah, so you start off with an X amount of cards. Depends how many players there are.
Okay.
So if there's more players, everybody starts off with less supply cards.
That makes sense.
And if there's less players, on the top of my head, I don't have. I believe it's like, if you're going with 4 players, it's about 6 to 7 supply cards. Again, the balancing is I mean, like, the game's done, but like, we just want to make sure, because that's these co-op games where it's basically you versus the game.
Yeah.
The balancing is so important.
Yeah.
So we really want to make sure we make that as best as possible.
Yeah.
But you start off with an X amount of supplies, and
okay, that's just what I was wondering, because I wasn't sure how that worked.
Yeah, and you depending on what you have, you kind of work around that.
Okay, so let's say, like, just because I'm trying, like, to get a good picture of everything, you start the game. Let's just go with your 4 people, 6 cards. You could draw 2 health, 3 ammo, and a throwable or a cocktail.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so you don't heal, like, in the game. Like, you don't get med kits to heal your character back up to 2 HP if that's what you started with. You just get more health, right?
Yeah, think of it as like, if you have 4 health cards, you have 4 hit points.
Okay.
Or technically 5, because like.
Oh, does everyone start with 1, and then any others you get are added to that?
Well, basically, think if you have no hit points, if you have no health cards, you can still play. Okay. It's just, if you get hit, you're dead.
Okay, so basically it's like everyone starts with 1 HP. So if you draw 6 supplies and it's all ammo and cocktails, you're not just like, oh, well, you can't play, you didn't get health. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you still play. It's just, you're not gonna want to do melee because you're getting up close to the zombies.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how it works.
Okay.
And again, that's why we like the different combat styles, because they have their own strength and weaknesses. Melee, it's unlimited, right? Yeah. But if you miss, you're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
Ammo, there's limited supply, but if you miss, that's okay. You just lose ammo.
Yeah.
And then cocktail, of course, does a lot of damage, but it can hurt you in a very bad way.
It could kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. It could kill you. Oh, and so when someone dies,
Mm-hmm.
so if you're playing and someone dies, you get to take 2 of their cards
Oh, okay.
from
2 of
them.
their cards per person, or just 2 total?
No, just 2 total.
Okay. So you have to
So
sit there and be like, okay, what's the most important thing this guy carried?
right, if you need health, or maybe he had like special weapons on him,
Mm-hmm.
you got to take the special weapons or whatever
Okay.
that you think is best. You can't take everything.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's cool.
we also thought about putting in a defibrillator, and like this would be the most rare card that you can find in a store, and that would bring back a player from the dead. But we're kind of on the fence about that.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, if there's just one of them, I don't see the harm in it. But at the same time, it kind of, I don't know, because like you think it would be kind of detrimental to bring someone back because you were only able to take 2 of whatever you had, and now you have to share what you guys have with them.
Exactly.
So it's more of like, all right, do we want to bring you back to play so you can keep playing with us, or do we want to keep our stuff and you kind of just sit there and eat your pizza?
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing about the game, is that there's points in the game where you got to work together, and it's really smart to do so. But there's also things in the road that will only go after you. Yeah. And if you are like being very generous with your supplies, and you're like, well, crap, this thing attacked me. I gave away my last health, excuse me, and now I'm dead. Yeah. Because
is there any event where you just take damage, or like you have to like you roll it over? It's like suddenly a thunderstorm, or well, that doesn't make sense because I feel like if you get struck by lightning, you just die.
Well, people survived it, but
true. But like in this
modern
scenario,
medicine,
let's say like, or you're looting a car and a zombie jumps out, you have to roll to potentially not take damage. Is that a thing?
That's basically looting. Yeah.
Okay. Like so, but if you like, let's say it's like, oh, you loot a car, and it's like if you roll a 1, you slam your hand in the door and you lose 1 HP or something.
Basically, I didn't bring it up because I want it to be a surprise. There's things in the road that will take things away from you without a choice.
Okay. So there's just bad events that
right.
Can happen.
So you could just flip over a card and be like, oh, I'm dead now. Okay. You know, that's there's
like I didn't have enough HP, so I'm dead now.
Right.
Okay,
yeah,
I
exactly.
get you. All right. Yeah. And we don't want to spoil what those are.
Those, no, and I want to make it clear that those are not super common. So, because we didn't want it to be like,
well, you don't want to kill people every single time.
Right.
It's like, this game sucks. All they do is die to these random events.
Right. We want to reward players for smart play.
Yeah.
And we don't want too many of those events where you're just like, oh, you're dead. Sorry. Like, you know.
Is there one that is just like you're dead, or is it all HP based?
It's different resources.
Okay. So, but there isn't one that you turn over and it's like, ha, you suck. You're dead now. Like, there's not one that just says you died on it.
Like, no matter what.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing like that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then it's not that cheap then.
No, we want to we wanted it to be difficult.
Yeah.
Don't get us like because my brother, he's a programmer, and he actually made a simulation of the game.
Oh.
And gave the AI the most conservative choices. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, like if you have a lot of ammo, the AI will shoot zombies instead of meleeing them.
Yeah.
And just like the cool thing is the simulation can play the game a lot more than we can with cards.
Oh.
So it played it like 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
And we could look at like, okay, how often are people dying from zombies in the store? How often are people dying from the lack of food? And that helps us balance the game. Now we're not relying solely on the simulation because there's a lot of like human element that you can't program.
I was gonna say, is it playing it solo? Or is it simulating a group?
No, it simulates a group.
Oh, okay.
It can't. We've done different form, like solo, and then with a group and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like we've done different. Like we don't trust it. Like we trust it, but like we don't like we're not counting on that to be the perfect balance. We're gonna also, of course, what that basically gives us a baseline. Like it's like okay, that's a good place to start. Now let's us play it as humans and see how it plays out. And if it needs, it's a game like that where there's a lot of like luck of the draw, shuffling, it's hard to like play it one time and be like, oh, that's balanced. You could have gotten lucky or very unlucky.
Yeah,
you know,
you died in their first 3 turns. It's like, well, all right, this game sucks.
Yeah, this game's too hard. We got to make it easy. But then you just got unlucky. Like, you know,
that's how these certain kinds of games work. That's all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So that's essentially the game.
I don't think there's anything else I can think of off the top of my head to ask. If there, I mean, obviously, anybody ask questions. Like,
we can talk about the Kickstarter.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, duh.
Yeah. So the Kickstarter, of course, is up. You'll see all the great artwork that's on there, and it's been so great working with these people. And so we want to raise about 30,000, and that's gonna help pay, of course, for the fantastic art.
Yeah.
And all of the help from the graphic designers, and of course printing is pretty expensive when you want a good quality print.
And if you need to print this many copies and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. That's why Kickstarter is so great for these card game things. You have an idea of how much you need to print. And we do have stretch goals.
Okay. What's the stretch goals, my dude?
So there's 3 of them. The first one is more card variety. Oh. So that means like we'll be able to pay the graphic or the illustrator more to make different variety of large horde or bridge down.
So different pictures when it comes to those same cards.
Right.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It helps with the immersion and stuff. Yeah. The second one is more bosses. So we'll add more bosses than needed to play. So if you want to shuffle out different bosses, like there'll be more easier bosses and harder bosses. Maybe like, let's just do all the hard bosses.
Okay.
Or you could randomly draw them. You know, like someone has all the boss cards, you randomly draw them, and you're like, oh, who knows what we get?
Okay.
So that's, and then the last one is a custom die that will have a skull for the number 1.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's what we're shooting for.
Are they? So do you know what you have the tiers at yet? Like how much more money you have to raise per tier, and which one's first and which one's the last one?
Oh yeah, the first one's variety, card variety.
I figured the first one would be the die. That would be the easiest one.
Wait, what do you mean?
The custom die with the skull on it. I thought that would be
being
easier.
The first stretch goal?
Yeah, like okay, we raised $30,000. If we get to 35, you get the die or whatever.
Oh no, well we have it as the most expensive because it's going to be the most expensive to make.
Oh, yeah. I thought that would be the easiest thing.
No, because you have to have a company custom make the die and then make them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's more expensive compared to having the illustrator, which we've already been working with.
That's fair. Yeah, because you have to go through something else instead of just being like, hey, can you make more cards?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense then. It's in that order. Is the more variety, more bosses die then? Like
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you have the prices? I mean, obviously the prices will be on the Kickstarter, and
it will be on the Kickstarter. And I just want to make this clear, guys. This is like the time of this recording is about 4 or 5 days before the release.
Yeah.
And we're this week. So today's Thursday. This weekend, me and my brother, we're going like full, like just tying up all the loose ends and doing a lot of little things. I'm pretty sure we're pricing the game at $25.
Okay.
And the way the perks work is you can buy the $25, you get the game. And then the more expensive ones, you get more of the game. Okay. So like more copies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We've thought about doing like t-shirts and other perks and stuff, but we just wanted to focus on making a good game.
Yeah.
And we just want people to be excited about it. So I think that's so if you have a bunch of friends and you're like, hey, I want to buy, 10 copies. I think the highest is like 5 copies.
Oh, okay.
We'll call it like survival expert or something. Yeah, that's there. You can give it away, gift it and stuff. Okay. But the plan is to release the day before Halloween.
Yeah, that makes sense.
again, I guess you could always just delay the podcast until.
I mean, yeah,
but,
it's just whenever the Kickstarter goes up is when it goes up.
Yeah. But I'm super excited. I'm super just like, I can't wait to see what you guys have to say about the game. And like, even if the game, we just like, for us, it's not like, oh, let's make this company and like have a new company or anything. Like, it's just like me and my brother growing up, we always did projects together. And, once he had his full-time job, I'm doing full YouTube. It was harder and harder to do things together.
Mm-hmm.
So this project was just like, we really love doing co-op games. We love playing, like getting together, playing them. Let's make a co-op card game. And it was just like a fun project that we worked on for about 2 years. And it was just a lot of fun. And just I'm regardless of the Kickstarter, how well it does, I'm just happy to do this project and see it through.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at.
I mean, we want it to do well, so that way you guys get the game. But
right, exactly. I mean, like, yeah, like let's just get to the 30,000. Let's get it so we can print these suckers and you guys can play it and we can do more games. That's what we want to do, is just more games, because we have tons of ideas for future games. But yeah, our business is called One-Eyed Boston.
One-Eyed Boston?
Yeah.
Okay.
The story behind that is we rescued a Boston Terrier that had one eye.
Oh, I remember her.
Yeah, Maggie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just One-Eyed Boston. Where he's just like, it rings, and it was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a really, really fun experience. This whole Kickstarter stuff is really exciting, and I'm excited to see how it does. So
yeah,
I hope you guys will check it out.
Dead Trek.
Dead Trek. No. Don't you dare. It's gone through a lot of different variations of name. I think originally it was Undead Expedition.
That's a lot of words.
That's a mouthful, right?
Yeah.
And basically we're like, okay, what are other words that mean the same thing but is more like catchy?
Yeah.
Dead Trek.
Yeah.
Dead as in similar to undead. I mean, it's a little different.
Semantics at that point.
Yeah, and then Trek meaning journey, adventure, like Star Trek, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dead Trek.
Dead Trek. That's spelled DEADTREK.
Yep.
Dead Trek. All right.
Yep.
Well.
Yeah. Oh, also we've got Twitter, Facebook, social media. You'll see that on the Kickstarter. Just be great if you could follow that so you can see updates of the game and just if we make another game or whatever.
Is it for One-Eyed Boston?
It's for Dead Trek, but we could easily. I don't know. I guess we'd have to make a One-Eyed Boston Twitter, but it'd be.
It's just a picture of Maggie as the logo.
Yeah, pretty much. And it has like a banner under it that says One-Eyed Boston. But yeah, so there's that. Again, just want to say how much fun it was making this game, working with all these talented people, and just it was awesome. So even like it would be great, even if you're like, this game's not for me, but I want to support Apollo, just sharing it on Facebook or sharing it with friends, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you should do a $5 tier where you get a signed autograph and that's it.
Yeah, that's like on a piece of paper.
Yeah, just be like, all right, here's my signature. You get that.
See, I don't even know. Like, that's the next thing is like, do I use my real name or do I sign pixelated Apollo?
I don't know. Depends on what you want to do. Do you want to dox yourself or not?
Yeah.
I don't know if it counts as doxing if you do it to yourself on purpose.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so I'm excited because I saw the card art a while back and I want to see how this turns out because I actually helped fund the Binding of Isaac card game that Edmund McMillan did a couple months back, and he's starting to ship those out this November. So I'll get that sometime in the next month. And I was like, oh, cool. Like when you mentioned it, because I had forgotten about it. Because, I mean, you had mentioned it way back.
Right. We've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah. But then I was like, oh, that's cool because I just bought a card game. And that one's co-op, sort of. Because like you can do stuff against your party if you want to be the one that wins, because I think only one person can win. I don't know the specific rules, but like this one is more co-op oriented. And our old neighbors that we had that lived above us were big into like board games and stuff, and we would totally invite them over to play it and stuff, because I mean,
that's awesome. I appreciate it. I mean, just like this, just like people playing our game, like that's cool. Like we made a game that was fun for us, and we just want to share it. And like it's just
and I totally like. They gave us a board game for our not our anniversary, but back when we got married, like that night, they gave us a gift of I think it was Spy or whatever, the board game. I can't remember if it's Spy or We Are Spies or it's something Spy.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, but we also played the Haunted House on the Hill with them, which is like a RPG style game that has different stories and stuff. Yeah. And they're really into board games, so I'm definitely going to mention this to them, obviously, because I feel like they'd have a passing interest at the very least.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be great. Yeah. It's been awesome, and I mean I could go on forever, but we are running out of time. Yeah. In terms of shipment, I think as of right now, we're making shipping for US and like North America free. It might cost money for shipping in the EU. Just we got to really work with the printing company. And then we plan to have them ready around Christmas time, so late December. But this is new to us, and we're depending on how many we sell, it could be early next year.
Yeah.
So
just I mean, that's what the Kickstarter updates are for. You could always keep people updated.
Yeah, of course.
So and then so hopefully you guys help fund the game.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I want a copy. So obviously, if you guys don't fund it, I get shafted. So come on, get it together.
Me and my brother want a copy. Like,
I feel like at that point you'd be like, "Oh, the Kickstarter failed. I'm still putting in $25 to the printing company to get our own deck."
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, no, we have our. It's not okay. We have a deck.
But because don't you guys have a prototype one or something?
It's a prototype one. So like, basically we want a final one. Yeah.
Yeah. You want the smell of those cards.
Yeah.
Get to you.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. Delicious. So we're obviously this will be on the hey, this is the podcast. You heard it here. Not first, but you heard it here.
Yeah.
If you want, can send you the podcast file. You can upload this entire thing to your YouTube as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sure to push this podcast to all my social media and just be like, hey, you want to learn more about the game? Check out the Polishing Podcast.
Yeah.
We went through it pretty in detail.
Yeah. So hopefully if you guys have any questions, obviously leave comments and questions. Sure. If Trent will answer them. I mean, obviously anything you ask me, I would have to be like, hey, what about this?
You could ask questions on the Kickstarter. We'll answer them.
Yeah.
As soon as possible. But yeah.
All right. Well, you heard about it, guys. Dead Trek, it's coming. Hopefully, you got to get it funded first. And I believe in you. And
I think it'll get funded.
Yeah. Just share it around. If you can't afford to even support it with a whatever. Not donation, but if you're like, it's not my thing, here's $5 though, or anything like that, just share it around with a lot of people, make sure people know about it, and I think it's gonna be cool. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this is just something new, really fun, and I'm not getting any sleep right now because I'm just thinking about it all the time.
Well, that's bad. You'll die. Get some sleep.
Well, I'm getting some sleep, all right? I'm not going to turn into a zombie.
Well, I hope not.
Or turn into one of the psycho bosses.
Well, I mean, now...
more.
So, wait, is there no big leather daddy boss?
Oh, no.
I
don't think that would be... I mean,
if he's covered up.
Maybe if we get the stretch goal, right? Maybe we
the more bosses stretch goal? Yeah. Big leather daddy?
Big leather daddy, yeah. Oh,
all right. Well,
all right. Yeah.
This has been fun. I've liked learning about the card game in full finally, because I knew about it a little bit, but not as much detail before, because I'm a trusted shit, I forgot the word I was gonna say after that. All right, but
well,
anyway.
plus, like, I didn't want you to know because, like, it worked out nicely for the podcast because you were asking questions that, yeah. Because if you knew, you probably just wouldn't think to ask about certain things.
Yeah, because it's easier to ask questions when you obviously don't know the answers.
Right.
But yeah, that's the podcast. We gotta stop so he can go stream 7 Days to Die. And if you're wondering why there's been so much zombie stuff, it actually is just a coincidence.
Yeah. I mean, I love zombie stuff. That's why we made a zombie card game.
Yeah, but that's not why there have been zombie stuff on stream. That's just because we enjoyed playing them recently.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so that's the podcast. Obviously, you got any questions, hit up that Kickstarter, ask the questions, share it around, and real quick, is Josephine in the game?
You know, maybe an extra boss. Maybe having a rabid, like, hog boss.
Well, I mean, you'd have to call her Josephine in the game, like Rabid Josephine or something.
Rabid Josephine, JoJo or something.
Oh yeah, Rabid JoJo. It's like, oh crap, it's the Rabid JoJo.
She's got like, big old tusks and
foaming at the mouth,
crazy looking eyes. Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah. But how is Josephine in a corner?
She's good. She's great.
It's getting a little
cold. Getting a little cold. Got her more straw, so she should be good for winter.
Nice. All right, that's the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this one because it's all new stuff. But yeah, we'll see you next time, which won't be as exciting because it'll just be Fallout 76 stuff, maybe some Kickstarter update stuff. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
And God bless.
Stay clean, stay polished.